they're really dedicated.
The faithful fans are ready for one final case with retired LAPD homicide detective turned tattooed private eye, Harry Bosch.
You really want to know?
Saying goodbye to Bosch's legacy is going to be a tough one for fans and for Titus. Do you feel like it's the final chapter, or are you still, it feels bittersweet?
Bittersweet only in that I guess the sweet part was the experience of doing it and the people that I got to work with. The bitter part of it is there's still many more stories to tell.
More stories from the Bosch book series, written by famed crime author Michael Connelly.
You got any proof?
That body's not enough for you.
And the final season is out now on Prime Video, but those dedicated fans have launched a campaign to keep the show going.
We have such goodwill and support all these years, which is why we've been on for so long. I feel badly for them because they have a kind of, when you have a fan base that's that invested, there's a kind of ownership. So I feel like the fans are kind of like, this is our show. We'll let you know when we don't want to watch it anymore.
Again, it is a final season, but there's so much more story to tell within that season. So where do we find Harry Bosch?
Harry's hired by a woman from Ireland. Her daughter, son-in-law, and her 2 grandchildren have just vanished, a family of 4. And he's hired to look into that. And as he starts to investigate that, his credo is everybody counts or nobody counts. But when you introduce children into a scenario, something like that, it becomes even, the implications are even broader. And here they are, they represent the thing that Harry never had, was a family. You know, his mother was a sex worker and was murdered when he was 12 years old. He grew up in the system, in the foster care system. And here's this kind of idyllic family, and they're gone. And so the stakes are very, very high. It's slightly different from the book Desert Star, but this case becomes kind of, if Harry's Ahab, this case is Moby Dick, right? So he's always relentless, but it leads us to a place where even as the audience, we may question, would he compromise himself? Because we bring him right to the edge, looking into the abyss, and even by Harry's statement, right? He says sometimes you look into the darkness too much, it takes a part of you. It takes a part of you and it inhabits a part of you.
What do you think? This was a hit.
Harry's daughter Maddie is also learning that her dad may have crossed the line, seeking revenge on the man who kidnapped her.
Justice will be done.
One way or another.
Well, if you recall, at the end of the 2nd season, Maddie intercepts a phone call while Harry's walking the dog, and it's from the corrections system. And it's a character named Preston Borders, who Bosch has put away not once, but twice. And he's a serial rapist and murderer. And in the 2nd season of Legacy, Maddie was kidnapped by a guy named Doc Weiler. So now Doc Weiler gets caught, he gets put into prison, but the phone call that she gets is from this Preston Borders guy who's in the system, and he says, "It's Preston Borders, you tell your father I took care of it." So it ends as a cliffhanger in season 2, but then we cut to 8 months later. So we introduce this really weird thing of her saying, "Dad, what did you do?" But it's not initially addressed, but then it does become addressed. And as that happens, there's an investigation that's then conducted by LAPD. There's political machinations that are happening in there, and that creates a stress with his relationship with Maddie. She knows that the moral fiber of which her father is constructed of, but there are things that come up where she kind of goes, because I'm his kid, et cetera, would he have compromised his moral compass? So that's kind of up in the air.
What if someone might be crossing a line? Would I have to rat them out?
You have to decide how much of the gray you're willing to live in.
So I have to ask you, I mean, since we're already in Los Angeles, there's another show coming to Los Angeles. Suits LA.
Yeah.
We talked to Gabriel, and he said that there are familiar faces that are going to come through the show from the original Suits. Any chance we get to see you?
You know what? They have not approached me about that, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I loved working with that group. Gabriel, he and I became fast friends on that. That would be a lot of fun.